Good morning, everybody, and a happy Saturday morning to you. Well, I guess basically 2 weeks away from her kids wasn't enough time. We have another event Meghan Markle popped up at, but there's also a lot of royal family news. Let's jump in and get busy, shall we? Let's go. I want to start off by saying thank you to everybody. As is typical, the second I complained to you guys on YouTube that my hype button was missing, boom, the button returned. This is what YouTube does. Also, if you guys will keep an eye on my numbers, they've rolled me back again this morning into the 78,500 range. Let's see if I get rolled out again into the 78,400 range. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, which according to my son, it is not statistically possible to go back and forth within 20 to 30 people every day for a month on YouTube. It's not possible. So somebody's messing with the account. Also, if you go back and look at my other videos, you'll see I average about 25 to 30,000 a video. And the last few videos I've had haven't even hit 20,000 because my channel is being suppressed again. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to keep going, okay? Now, this is a really long video. As usual, there's a lot in there. Let's jump in and get busy. Let's go. We're going to start off this morning with Queen Camilla, who attended the National Harvest Festival at Westminster Abbey a day or two ago. This marks World Food Day, which celebrates farmers and the role that they play in feeding the nation. This was organized by Love British Food. The service featured readings by Charles Dance, Matt Baker, and a special poem, Bread of Heaven, by poet laureate Simon Armitage. Queen Camilla met representatives from food distribution charities working to tackle hunger across the UK. Ollie Plunkett, the Queen's first equerry, was also seen attending the service. Now, the King wasn't there. He was doing something else that we will cover in just a minute. But through the social media, King Charles put out a statement that said, and I'm quoting, "Today is a most wonderful way to celebrate our Lord's bounty through this year's National Harvest Service in the magnificent setting of Westminster Abbey. It is a time of year to give thanks to the custodians of our land in a tradition that stretches back centuries, yet remains ever relevant. This labor is the foundation of our food production, the heartbeat of rural communities, and vital to the protection of the national landscape we all treasure so dearly." Now, last year, Tom Parker Bowles said that Charles feels so strongly about avoiding food waste that nothing is ever thrown away at Clarence House. If anything is left over from dinner, it's made into something else or it appears the next day. Nothing is ever thrown out. This took place on Thursday, October 16th, and as an FYI, around 2,000 representatives from across the food, farming, and food redistribution and food bank sectors also attended this particular event. As an FYI, also, I've seen this green outfit on her before, and I think that's the perfect color for this type of event. She looked lovely. All right, time to move on. Let's move on to King Charles. This is pretty cool. I hope I say these right. 40 years ago, the Australian government returned the title deeds for Uluru Kata Kajuta National Park to the Ananagu people. And so what happened was, yesterday, King Charles celebrated the anniversary of what they're calling the hand back. So he went to London's Australia House. Now, he went with Princess Diana to that area during the royal visit of Australia in 1983, 2 years before the park was returned to the original residents. So this was King Charles's very first visit ever to London's Australia House. I don't know, that seems so odd to me that it was his first time. So Charles met a delegation of traditional owners. Then he sat with Sir Clive Alderton, his principal private secretary, and watched some traditional performances. Now, again, I'm going to attempt to put this all in the right order, so I don't know if the reception that we're going to talk about next was before or after this. I'm assuming it was after. You know what they say about assuming, though. So let's continue. Maybe it's just me, but King Charles looks to me like he's got a little bit of a spring in his step. All right, next up, the king was reunited with another old friend for they're saying what was probably the last time in their lives. He met with Brazilian indigenous leader Chief Rayoni Metukatayar of the Kayapo people on his final visit to the UK. He's approximately 93 years old. He's a rainforest advocate. He has the traditional lip plate and the headdress. He's a familiar figure on the world stage because he campaigned for decades to save the Amazon rainforest. He was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for his work. So Charles walked up to him. He's now wheelchair bound. They were at St. James Palace. And Charles walks up and goes, "Oh, I haven't seen you in so long." He had a translator who said, "He's been waiting for you a long time. It's been a long time." They first met back in the 80s. And then in 2009, when you came to Brazil, the translator said. I love that. The gentleman then grabbed onto the king's jacket and spoke at length to him intently, with Charles gazing into his eyes and patting his arm. And the translator said, "It's been such a long time. He wanted to meet you to thank you for everything you do for Brazil and the indigenous people." He says he's still fighting for the people and he wants to continue to count on you to help keep protecting the Amazon rainforest. There's still a lot of challenges. Now, as you can see, Charles and Camilla met him. I believe these pictures were taken back in 2009. This is when they met back in Brazil. Of course, this was a reception for scientists, businesses, and indigenous leaders with the Circular Bioeconomy Alliance at St. James Palace. You know, one of the people he met in that white hat that you're looking at is Bianca Jagger, who had been invited as a guest. Very interesting. This reception follows a day of discussions on the relationship between nature and health. Remember, Charles established the Circular Bioeconomy Alliance in 2020 to encourage people and organizations to put nature at the center of economic decision-making. Let's move on now to Princess Anne. As patron of the Royal College of Emergency Medicine, she attended a buffet lunch for senior fellows at the college's headquarters, Octavia House, in Southwark, London. Sticking with Princess Anne, on the 16th, she supported the national expansion of a group called Wet Wheels, which is an inclusive boating charity. So on the 16th, she went to the English Riviera and she helped put a spotlight on the organization's mission to make the sea accessible to disabled and disadvantaged people across the UK. This was founded by a disabled yachtsman, and the Wet Wheels Foundation already operates 8 specially adapted powerboats across the UK, and now buoyed by growing demand and royal support, the charity has announced plans to expand its fleet to 10 boats nationwide, enabling thousands more people to take to the water each year. I think that's lovely. Also on Thursday, she's wearing the same outfit. Princess Anne made a visit to South Molton Depot in Devon because she was marking the 75th anniversary of British wool. Now remember, she's president of the UK Fashion and Textile Association, and they gave her a tour of the depot grading facilities, and of course she met staff and local farmers. Now, she went to the luncheon after this, and by the way, she was also going to the Autumn in the City dinner at the Savoy as patron of Save the Children UK. She's a very busy woman on this day. Next up, the Duke of Kent attended a concert in memory of his late wife, the Duchess of Kent, at the Polish Heart Club in London on October 15th. Remember, she was a music teacher. How touching was this? The Duke of Kent's daughter, Lady Helen Taylor, and her son, Cassius Taylor, attended the Frieze Art Fair 2025 VIP preview in Regent's Park on October 15th. Yes, that's Princess Eugenie. Thank you, Remoulade Sauce, for showing us what she was wearing. Let's continue. Let's move on to her sister, Beatrice. She was out for another date night with her husband, Eduardo Mapelli Mosey. They went out Wednesday in London to attend the Make-A-Wish Foundation Art of Wishes Gala at the Chancery Rosewood Hotel. I'm glad to hear that she and her husband are still attending charity events that are important. Yeah. All right, let's continue. All right, next up, an article came out saying that the public wants another show of punishment for Prince Andrew following Virginia Giuffre's posthumous memoir. I don't think anybody does. I think we're sick of it. The man's already been punished enough. Move the heck on. Now, also on the 16th, everybody was super busy. The Duchess of Gloucester arrived at Bermuda in advance of celebrations of Royal Bermuda Regiment's 60th anniversary. Don't forget that she is the Colonel-in-Chief of the Royal Bermuda Regiment, and she arrived on a British Airways flight at about 6 p.m. and was greeted by the governor. She subsequently shook hands and exchanged words with David Burt, the Premier Chief Justice Larry Mussenden, Robert King, the opposition leader, the officers with the Bermuda Police Service, and the Royal Bermuda Regiment. She was then walked to a waiting car and left the airport with a police escort. Now, she's scheduled to make several stops during her visit, including a tour of the Masterworks Museum of Bermuda Art, of which she is the patron, the Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy, and the Bermuda Institute of Ocean Sciences. She will then attend a Trooping the Colors ceremony where soldiers will be given service medals at the Keep in Dockyard Saturday morning. She will tour the National Museum of Bermuda. She will attend the RBR Gala Dinner on Saturday, take part in a church service at the Cathedral of the Most Holy Trinity in Hamilton on Sunday, scheduled to take part in a tree planting ceremony at Government House on Monday, and visit the Bermuda Aquarium, Museum, and Zoo, as well as Trunk Island. Obviously, I'm going to be trying to keep up with this entire trip, and I'll bring you lots of pictures as they become available. Okay, remember I told you guys about the Concord Championship, and they're the seeds of horse chestnut trees that fall in autumn, and they're part of that game, where they knock them. And okay, so apparently it came out that Prince Louis was interested in Conkers, and he was offered the patron of the World Conker Championship. And Kensington Palace staff responded and said, he can't do it. We appreciate the invitation, but currently Prince Louis is concentrating on his studies. Moving on. Let's move on now to Victoria Beckham. There was a reception hosted by Vogue. There were designers, editors, models. Anna Wintour was there, and they were there to watch select clips that captured the essence of Victoria's series on Netflix. She is so humble. She said she was genuinely surprised that anybody would care enough about what she did every day. She said, my team first convinced me to say yes, then my husband, and I think it was the success of David's documentary that gave me the confidence to do it. I love her. All right, let's move on to Harry and Meghan. Well, it appears that they are going to miss an invitation at Sandringham again. I don't see why this is such a big surprise. Nobody else from the royal family would show up if Harry and Meghan were there, number one. Number two, even when they were in the royal family and they were invited, they didn't go. I don't think they really want to be there anyway. I know Meghan doesn't want to, so what's the deal? Moving on. All right, this story is back in the news. Remember last week, Daniel Martin posted a video on social media about his trip to France with Meghan. He then took the post down. Now, this guy has his own spokesperson who declined to comment, but a source close to Meghan said that he removed the video because he failed to refer to all the beauty products, but it looks like Meghan asked him to remove the video. So what he's learned is a very valuable lesson that friendship with Meghan involves doing what she wants, or as her husband, Prince Harry, is said, what Meghan wants, Meghan gets. All right, next up, I couldn't help but point this out. We all remember the pictures of Catherine in the cockpit, so of course it was inevitable. Okay, that is just freaking creepy at this point. Now the next thing, what did I tell you about mainstream media? All the YouTubers talked about how Meghan Markle was walking around with a monogram bag, and suddenly mainstream media is reporting on it. It's unbelievable. Let's continue. This is one of the bigger stories I want to cover about. It's being reported all over the place that Harry appeared sad, anxious, and tired while they were in New York collecting that ridiculous award. It was reported they were very businesslike together by someone who said they were watching from the audience from the World Mental Health Festival last week. They said they may have been affected because there was a lack of crowds to greet them at Friday's event, which was run by Project Healthy Mind, and the festival was bleak. So what they're saying of Harry is you get the impression his life has taken a wrong turn. He looks so sad. He looks so tired. He obviously hates speaking in front of a crowd, and yet there he was. Now, another anonymous audience member said that I had hoped they would be on the panel, but they got up, read a speech from a teleprompter to kick off a session each, and then they sat right down. My guess is they're not on the panel because they're not experts. But after 3 panel discussions, they got up, hugged some people, and left to go have lunch with Serena Williams. There were no crowds. It was very businesslike. And she goes, I was so interested to see them in person. And then it was just so, blah. There's a lot of irony in them getting this award after what they've done to Harry's family. And of course, after what they've done to Thomas Markle and his mental health. Apparently, they don't count. Unbelievable. All right, moving on. Be prepared because Meghan already announced that her Christmas show is coming out in November. It probably was taped at the same time as the other stuff. All right, let's keep going. Okay, this next article, and I don't know what to believe. I mean, it's Radar Online, but what they're saying is that Harry's boldness, he's using hair loss medication, which has left him very indifferent to the risk of being impotent because apparently since the birth of their second child, their marriage is virtually sexless. So apparently Harry is relying on a cocktail of minoxidil and another medication to slow his hair loss, but the side effects are a price he's not worried about paying. I mean, I'm sure his hair loss is a source of insecurity, and he's been noticeably balding for more than a decade. So, yeah, that's what happens. All right, now I want to move on. I just want to touch on this next article. Apparently, Meghan is on a list with Ellen DeGeneres and some other people as one of the most disliked celebrities of 2025. All right, and next up, Princess Carparkle made a video showing Meghan's weird blinking habits. Watch this. Serena Williams and her sister Venus were in England at the Marchioness of Bath's huge house. We know who she is. And they were making, comments to her like, ooh, I want a title. Where can I get a title? How can I get, I'm like, are you serious? Like, this is the weirdest thing. I'm thinking, why don't you ask your bestie, Meghan Markle? All right, this is our final story. We know Meghan was away from her children while she was in New York, and then everywhere she went, Washington, and she was away from them again because she got a dinner invitation. That woman would never turn down a dinner invitation. On Wednesday the 15th, she supposedly provided all the wine from As Ever. She attended a, quote, seat at the table dinner in LA, which was hosted by Emma Grede. Remember, she did the podcast with Meghan. The dinner was held at designer Kelly Wessler's home with a meal prepared by plant-based chef Camilla Marcus. It was planned by Stephanie Horton and sponsored by Shop by Google. So there were several videos and pictures that came up. And here's Meghan, of course, sitting there. Oh my God. So to start with, she's probably taking this wine, which isn't selling out, as a tax write-off. That's what I would do. Of course, her pants were up to her boobs. A big thank you to that one for this. We know that this woman, I believe she was the co-founder of Skims, and so she's worth a lot of money. So look at Meghan giving her literally the look of love. She's love bombing her. Now this woman starts throwing her arms around and literally almost hits Meghan in the face. Watch. Meghan's like, whoops, let me move my head. So what Emma Grede said was, and I'm quoting, this dinner series is about making that energy ours. It's about women coming together to share openly, trade resources, and help each other get shit done. It's the same group of women that we see over and over and over again. It's Emma Grede. It's the woman from Highbrow Hippie. It's the same people. It's the same group. One of the things that Emma said is, so many of you are looking to raise money. I'm sure she meant Meghan. You know what I notice in the next clip, and you're going to see it, but it's short, so I'm going to tell you about it now, is that Emma is talking to the woman on the other side of Meghan. Meghan tries to interject herself into the conversation, and as it pans over, you see Emma actually lean forward and over so that the two of them can continue their conversation around Meghan Markle. Because this is what the usual thing is. She wants to be involved in the conversation, but she won't let anybody else talk without her trying to interject herself. You guys see it right here? Emma leans forward so they can converse. Yep. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my second channel, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale on Amazon, and a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.